The smallest bet I made all year beat my cleverest trades. £1 a day. Not a typo, not a dare, just a quiet tap on a commission-free app while the world argued about recessions. I thought it would be pocket change theater. It ended up exposing how my brain loses me money, and how yours probably does too. I'm not here to sell you a fantasy. I'm here to show you how a habit this small turned red days into discounts, green days into momentum, and fear into a system I could trust. No spreadsheets, no secret stock tips, no late-night charts. Just £1 every day for 1 year into the same boring, broad basket that owns pieces of hundreds of real companies you use without thinking. Here's the twist. The result that mattered most wasn't the pound total at the end. It was the person I became halfway through. And the oddest part. The wealthy already know this. They hide it in plain sight behind fancy words, while most people keep trying to outsmart a hurricane with an umbrella. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why. I called it the daily drip. Not a challenge, a switch. Set it once, let it run, and stop pretending you can predict next week. The daily drip did 3 things for me that I didn't expect. It removed the moment of decision, it turned scary headlines into small bargains, and it made my future self non-negotiable. I wasn't trying to win today. I was trying to show up tomorrow. Here's what that looked like. On days when the chart bled red, the drip bought a little extra because prices were lower. On days when everything soared, the drip still bought, but less of it because prices were higher. Same pound, different amount of ownership. The rhythm did the thinking, not me. Why does this matter right now? Because the clock never stops. Markets don't wait for your mood, your next paycheck, or the perfect headline. Every day you're either in the game or you're not. And the daily drip is the simplest way I've found to stay in without burning out. But the real reason it works isn't discipline. It's something stranger that sits under your nose and almost nobody names out loud. A few months in, I hit the week. You know the one. Alarms, red banners, charts sliding like wet paint. Old me would have frozen, waiting for a bottom that only exists in hindsight. New me had no button to press. The drip whispered, "We buy anyway." A tiny, stubborn daily buy during a storm that felt endless. And then something weird happened. Instead of dread, I felt relief. Discounts. Not a feast, not a jackpot. Just a calm sense that my future owned a little more of the world today than yesterday. When prices later clawed back, those tiny storm day slices wore capes. You might think the secret is toughness. It is. I didn't become brave. I became absent from the decision. The daily drip took the wheel so my nerves couldn't. That is the point. When your system is small enough to ignore and consistent enough to never miss, your feelings finally stop being project managers. But there was still a problem. I was dripping into the wrong shape. And when I fixed that, the entire experiment flipped from good to quietly unstoppable. Picture 2 versions of me starting with the same money. One is the old me, hunting for the perfect day, bouncing between headlines and hot takes. The other is the new me, built from £1 a day and an unglamorous rule. The year throws everything at us. Spikes that make you cocky, slides that make you small, and long flat stretches that make you bored. Old me nails a few moves and then gives it all back trying to repeat them. New me moves like water. The daily drip buys more on down days without asking, less on up days without regret. Same pound. Better average ownership. No heroics. Here's what nobody tells you when you chase perfect timing. Your misses hurt more than your hits help. Skip a big green day and you try to catch up by swinging harder. Buy too early before a drop and you freeze, waiting to be right while the market walks away. With the drip, you don't miss the open door because you're always already inside. But here's the part nobody talks about. The drip isn't just about price. It's also about identity. When you become the person who invests every day, even with pocket change, you stop negotiating with fear. And that identity does something to your returns that charts alone can't explain. Imagine someone who, 2 decades ago, dropped a coin in a glass jar every single day. Not much, just the sound of a promise. Years later, the jar wasn't just money, it was proof. Markets work the same way. They are an ocean. You do not calm the waves by yelling at them. You anchor. The daily drip is that anchor. It keeps you in the water when it's choppy so you actually benefit when it's calm. Most people do the opposite. They sprint to the shoreline when it storms and miss the rainbow. Social proof tells them to chase when everyone's cheering. The quiet minority automates. They pick a wide basket of global businesses and set a cadence that happens whether or not they remember to be brave that morning. Here's the part nobody talks about. You can do this even if your cash lands monthly. You split your plan into tiny bites. Your app can buy slices of funds so small you barely feel them. And buried in the settings is a toggle that takes this from nice idea to unbreakable habit. Flip it once and it hums underneath your life. But what do you actually flip? What is the daily drip, in plain words you can set up tonight? Stay with me for one more minute, here it is. The daily drip is just fixed amount buying on a daily cadence into something wonderfully boring, a low-fee fund that owns big slices of the world. Old books call it pound cost averaging. The reason it feels like a cheat code is simple. By keeping the pound fixed and the timing constant, you buy more when prices are low and less when prices are high without thinking about it. Volatility becomes a discount machine instead of a mood swing. To set it up, choose a broad, low-cost fund you could hold for decades. Turn on automatic buys for every market day. Pick an amount so small you won't flinch on the worst headline. Then stop touching it. Let it run. Check in once a season to smile at the fact that you showed up every single day. That's the whole secret. Not sexy, deeply effective. And you can start with £1 tonight. If this helped you breathe easier about your money, hit subscribe and drop a like so more people find the calm. Tell me in the comments the tiny daily amount you can commit to without flinching. Next, watch the video where I turned spare change roundups into a real investment engine and discovered a trap almost everyone falls into. It pairs perfectly with this. Make the promise tonight. Let tomorrow prove it.